How's everyone doing? Okay, this is gonna be fun. So a few weeks ago, I went canoeing actually with some guys in the audience here, including my buddy Joey Williams. We were out between Austin and Bastrop on the Colorado River. We arrived just around dusk. We put in, I don't know, about, how long ago do you think, Joey?
Hour and a half.
Maybe an hour and a half ago. We still have a lot more river to go here. And I think we're gonna find a gator. Yeah, that's right. We were looking for alligators. And the trip was eventful. We ran into a bunch of tree branches covered in spiders.
Oh, spider, get off my face, goddammit.
It was like that.
That dude just ran like across my eyebrows.
We got swamped in like some really serious vegetation. We had vultures flying over us, which if you don't know is always a really good sign. So these are the lights that we used, and they're supposed to reflect alligator eyes, so they're easy to spot, right? Apparently gator eyes glow red in the dark. So you're probably wondering, did we find a gator? There's something over in the water over there that was just like I just saw a big disturbance in the water. We'll get back to that. First, I want to explain why we were looking for alligators. It started with this question from listener Jade Florence.
My question was, have there ever been any sightings or history of gators in or around Zilker Park?
So Jade is a wildlife biologist. She's not a gator expert, she's actually a bat expert. But she said a few years ago she was looking into the history of Zilker Park for a job, and she came across these rumors that there used to be alligators there. Specifically, people say there were gators here in Eliza Springs, okay, right next to Barton Springs, around where the Zilker Zephyr mini train station was.
Gators don't seem like an animal that should be in Zilker Park or would be in Zilker Park, and so that struck me as odd.
So she asked AT explained about it. I looked into it, and I actually have 3 different answers for her. So it seems to me the easiest way to do this is I'm going to give each answer separately, and we'll check in on my gator hunt along the way. Does that sound good? All right. Here's number 1. No gators, okay? After Jade heard about the Zilker Park gators, she started doing a little digging of her own, and she mentioned the rumors to her in-laws. They're lifelong Austinites, and they said there were no gators in Zilker. But there was a gator nearby. It was at a restaurant down the street on Barton Springs Road called the Holiday House. Some of you might know about this, right? It's where Terry Black's is now. Now, they said that there was a gator that lived there in a moat around the restaurant. I mean, how trustworthy are your husband's parents?
This was 2 years ago that they told me the story, so I think it would be great for you to talk to them and just get a fresh memory direct from them of what happened.
And that's what I did.
Hello?
Hi there, Julie. It's Mose.
Hi, Mose.
So Julie Chappell is Jade's mother-in-law, and she says sometime in the early 70s, she went to the Holiday House and she saw the gator with her own eyes.
There was a walkway that went into the restaurant that went over his swamp. I just couldn't understand why somebody would have an alligator there. But my brother-in-law does remember that his name was Charlie.
Okay. Yes, his name was Charlie. And yes, his story is the stuff of Austin legend. It goes like this. The year is 1964. A 4-foot-long alligator, immediately dubbed Charlie for some reason, was fished out of UT's Littlefield Fountain. People figured he was put there by pranksters. So imagine, you're the police, you suddenly have a 4-foot-long alligator, it's 1964, what are you gonna do? Well, they gave it to this guy. This is a local restaurateur named Ralph Moreland. And Ralph installed Charlie in that moat at his Holiday House restaurant as an attraction. Ralph Moreland passed away several years ago, but this man is Dave Curbo. Dave actually started the Catfish Parlor restaurants in Austin, if you know them. Yeah, It's good stuff. But before that, he was Charlie the alligator's caretaker. What kind of relationship did you develop with him? You ever talk to him?
The alligator? No. He didn't know who I was. He'd probably bite me if I got in there, even though I fed him.
And Dave says feeding Charlie was tricky. He had like a broomstick with a nail hammered in it, and he'd dangle a slab of meat off of that to get Charlie to eat.
But you know, I don't know what kind of meat it was, but I think it was fajitas. And that was before fajitas were cool, because it was a flat, kind of big chunk of meat. So Charlie, I think, ate fajitas. Yeah, no tortillas, though.
No tortillas. Sometimes they'd also give Charlie a live chicken, but for obvious reasons, they would try to feed him those before the restaurant opened. But Dave says one time Charlie wasn't hungry until after they brought in a big group for a kid's birthday party.
And that's about the time Charlie chomped down on that chicken. And all these kids started screaming and crying. It was a disaster.
There was yet another problem. People kept
It became
stealing
like a high
Charlie.
school prank or a fraternity prank to kidnap Charlie. And he was picked up in different areas. I specifically remember people called in and said he was at Muni Golf Course.
So aside from the kidnappings, it sounds like Charlie had an okay life, like eating fajitas and chickens. But it was a life tragically and violently cut short. One morning, when restaurant workers showed up to start their shifts, they found Charlie murdered in his moat.
Well, I think we had a disgruntled customer. We don't know who it was. Could have been one of many. Took a tire tool to him one night and dispatched him.
That's right. Somebody bludgeoned Charlie the alligator to death. Took a turn. The restaurant owner, Ralph Moreland, got other gators to take Charlie's place, but Dave doesn't really remember them. What he does remember is what happened to the original Charlie.
Ralph actually had him stuffed. And when he built the holiday house on 51st and Airport, he put him on the mansard canopy right above the cash register. So when you walk in to order and look up, there's Charlie.
And there's Charlie. So this is our first answer to Jade's question. There was no gator in Zilker Park, but there was Charlie right down the street. And the whole thing maybe kind of got jumbled up in people's minds, and the rumor of the Zilker Park gators took off. Now, this sounds plausible, right? But like I said, there are other possibilities. Now, before we get to the next one, let's check in on that gator hunt. Thought I saw something over there, but, ooh, there's something in the tree there. Oh, there he goes. It's a tree gator. One of those rare tree gators. Rare tree gator. Well, we're not having any luck yet, but at least there's lightning now, right? So, on to our next answer. And the next answer is, yes, there were gators in Zilker Park. So, how can I say that, especially after saying there weren't? Well, I say it because there's almost, it seems like an entire generation of Austinites who remember that there were gators in Zilker Park, in Eliza Springs, right by Barton Springs. And their stories all line up. They line up from when they saw the gators.
Early 80s, maybe?
Early to mid 80s, I would say.
Yes, early 80s.
To where they saw the gators.
I remember going down there with my grandmother, and we would ride that little train around, and you'd go to that pit. It had a fence around it.
Like a barred off area.
I remember peering over the chain link fence.
To what they saw, gators.
I clearly remember there being alligators down there.
Right?
Several alligators.
And I was like, man, that's kind of scary. I hope I don't fall in there.
And they all say the same thing. They say they saw these gators like maybe once, and then the gators mysteriously disappeared.
So in my mind as a child, I do remember thinking those alligators are in Barton Springs now.
That makes sense. So what do we do with this information? I have found 0 media reports about these gators in Zilker Park in the early 80s. Are all these people delusional? Or are they all part of a vast conspiracy to spread gator lies around the city? No, I don't think so either. I don't think so. And the reason I believe that these people actually brings us to my third answer, okay? But before we get there, we're going to check in again on the gator hunt. This is starting to feel like one of those kind of found footage horror movie situations where they're going to find the tape and listen to this. Maybe we'll be gone. Maybe we'll be with the gators. Okay. So no luck yet, but let's not lose hope. You see, I believe that there were gators in Zilker Park because there are alligators everywhere. Okay? Stay with me. This is something that I've noticed in my career reporting around Central Texas. Every few years, there's a big gator story. 2011, a gator turns up in Lake Travis. It's dead. They say it looked like maybe it had been hit with a boat propeller. Also 2011, a guy in Bastrop shoots a 700-pound gator in a creek there. Seriously. He did it without a license. He did it out of season. He put this on Facebook, and he got in big trouble for it. 2014, a baby gator. Isn't that cute? A baby gator is found in someone's yard in Bastrop. 2016, I have more. 2016, 2 gators arrive in a Del Valley retention pond where they went on to live for at least a few years. Okay, and this is the big one. 2020, a gator is spotted in Lady Bird Lake. Okay? This is Lady Bird Lake, people. This is right down the street. I mean, how much more proof do you need that gators are everywhere, right? I have noticed, though, in my years reporting, that every time a gator shows up around Austin, everyone acts like it is the first time it happened. People are shocked that a gator could be living next door. They make a huge deal out of it, and this is the thing that really weirds me out. They make a huge deal out of it, and then they just all forget about it. Totally forget about it until the next time a gator shows up, right? It's like Austin has alligator amnesia. So I just want to say, for the record, people, we live in gator country. The gators are here, and they have always been here.
The Austin area really is the northern range limit for the species in Texas.
So this is John Warner. He's like the main gator guy for Texas Parks and Wildlife, and he confirmed this to me. In fact, he says he's seen gators as far up north as Dallas. He says even if you don't see a gator, you might hear a gator. Gators bellow kind of to mark their territory, and the baby gators, they make these cute little chirping noises. Can you do the sound for me? What they sound like?
Oh, you put me on the spot, so I can't do the bellow. The chirp, yeah, that's the little hatchlings. That's what they do.
So another one of my favorite quotes from that interview is when John said, gators are pretty simple creatures. They're really mostly just about the 3 F's, right? Feeding, fighting, and procreating. Now, Warner says, before you get too worried, Warner says there are not a lot of gators around here. He says he would never worry about swimming or really running into one ever, but you can find them here. And you can find them sometimes along the Colorado River. So before I say goodnight, let's just check in one last time to see how that gator hunt ended up. There's an update here. Seems like a big storm that might be coming in. Yeah, this is actually that huge hailstorm that happened, so I had to ditch my stuff and just start paddling my ass off. So, I have abandoned the recording, professional radio recording part of this trip. We try to get as close back to the home base as we can. These gators are laughing at us. So, no, we did not see a gator that night. But in the words of my buddy Joey, that does not mean a gator didn't see us. Thank you.